the thought of seeing being believing is something that is limiting us in our trajectory in life, because the thing is, there's a lot to the scope. And even think about it, what we see with our eyeballs, we only see like a fraction of what actually is truly out there. And even hearing things too, like our senses are limited. We think they're very evolved, which they are, of course. They've evolved over time, but they're also still very limited in the grand scheme of things, because there's so much information coming through. Even think about like with dogs, right? They can hear just different frequencies to us. So there's always all these different frequencies going on. And if we think we have to see something to know it's true or real or believe it, this is limiting, because look at, pretend this is an eyeball. Like, what can we see? What's in front of us? Maybe if we tilt our eyes to the side, we can see this side view and we can see up here. But there's this whole 180 that we're unable to see. Okay, and this is just a picture and image of the limitations that we can give ourselves that we're unknowing of, because this makes us not maybe believe in things that we have in our mind, on our heart, or things that we want to do, that it's really hard to explain because we have limited vocabulary. First of all, it may feel like, oh, we know all the words and we can explain everything, but some of these things are not explainable via using our language, our like human language, because that's still very limited, some of the sensations that we might get. And this is what blocks us to kind of our blessings, because if we're so pragmatic and logical on things, it's really hard for us to be able to expand beyond it and see it's blocking anything that's coming through that may be filtered through a different lens. So we have this lens on the front, maybe it's coming through here, and we just don't see it, or we're not being open to it because we think we can't see it. So this is mainly to let you know that seeing isn't always believing in the way that's going to be expansive for you. So understand that it takes a lot of courage and trust and faith to be able to not just understand on a logical mindset level, but to actually believe and feel into it. Because things can be given to you in many different packages. Okay, we think of like a little gift. You can get little presents. Some things are very glaringly obvious. And you'll be like, oh, okay, this makes sense. But other things you'll be like, I don't know what to do with it. And this is important to not be this block, because this is where a lot of us get stuck. We're just like, if it's not exactly what we have in our mind, in our vision, we're just like, okay, it's not for us. We're really quickly to write it off. But there are so many things trying to get through this wall. And if we're in this thing where we think we 100% know everything and know best, there's no room for improvement, and there's no room for new knowledge to come through that actually might be better than what you had before. There is a lot for you. There is so much for you in this life, but we need to not block our blessings. Because, yeah, this information is being fed. But because you don't think that it's useful, you don't see the benefit right now, even if it may feel good, but you're just like, this is not what I had in mind, so you block it. Imagine if all of these things could get through. Because these are things, if they're showing up for you, maybe in a random way, it's probably not that random. Everything's kind of here for you to be able to achieve, attain, and it's kind of what you do with it. This is the same with anything that comes in life, right? Any situation, it's kind of not what happens to you, it's how you respond to it. So it can be very scary, because we're people, we've had to learn to evolve to hide from the predators and hide from any danger and stuff. And we think with our brains, obviously we're like top of the food chain and whatnot, so we think we know everything, but there's so much we can't see. It's been proven by science, and there's so much we are unable to fully understand. Maybe in hindsight, we can see these things. In hindsight, maybe we can have more of a 360 view of everything. Everything that's connected our journey. but it's important to not lose sight of our limited sight, okay? Because there is a lot for you here in terms of the expansion of who you are and all the things that will come to you. Maybe they're friendships, maybe it's education, maybe it's just knowing in yourself of the way that things that light you up, learning these things, because you might not even know, right? We're very limited in what we experience. It doesn't seem that way or feel that way because obviously this is the generation where we have so much access to everything, so everything feels like we can get it on the drop of a hat, knock on our doorstep, but there's still so much that's still trying to filter through. So don't be a barrier to your blessings, don't block things that don't seem aligned, but it's important, of course, to have your discernment. But if we allow, say, let's open up this section and we're not so like, this is us being like maybe skeptical or us just not being able to be as open as we could be. But even if we open just this little channel and allow things to flow through at some point, this could be in moments of silence because you cannot connect everything or some things even if you're so busy all the time. And this is also us being busy. It's kind of creating this barrier and blocking things because if we're so busy, so many thoughts, feelings, I know best, and maybe even not even that extreme, you're just so busy with the life stuff, which happens. But then how are these things ever going to flow through? So just know that even in all of our intellect and all of our knowledge, we can be blocking ourselves. And it's important to create these little spaces, have the trust and knowledge that you don't know everything. Unfortunately, you do. This is the thing. You do know more than what you can even understand. But it's through this kind of loop where you're connecting to kind of nothingness that you're able to see more, which most of my things sound very counterintuitive, but this is just how it works. This is how it works. So you know a lot, but because we're so busy, and this is kind of like just like our human stuff that we think is important, but not really. We're just basing it on what we think is important, because yeah, it's what we do with it. And if we're using it in a way that's not beneficial, or in a way that's adding more to this blockage line, what are we gonna do? So just allow some space, create things to flow, and you'll be able to expand and experience so much more.